Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is Tuesday the 21st of October. This video is for educational purpose only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. I might hold positions in some of the instruments that I'm talking about, but I rarely do. So just as a heads up and a disclaimer. Let's start with Apple. New all-time high yesterday, new all-time high close. After bouncing from the 245.50 support area, we can see it actually closed that little gap there with a close below, but it didn't want to have any of it, so buyers, they returned, and on Friday they lifted a little bit, and then yesterday really took off and new all-time high. So that also means that it has resumed its uptrend with the likely higher levels to follow. Traded slightly higher in the aftermarket, so it seems like there's more in store in the coming days and weeks for Apple to the upside. And suffice to say that while it is 244, the lows there, as long as Apple stays above that level, well, then it remains in a bullish trend. It is supported by positive sentiment on RSI. There is a slight divergence there, but again, trust the trend, and it seems like we are to push higher for Apple. That of course also lifted the Nasdaq 100 and the other indices where Apple is a member, S&P 500 and Dow Jones. And we could see that we was very close to an all-time high close, 136.62, 130.41. Yeah, new all-time high close. Also Nasdaq 100, not a new all-time high, but a higher close. And we are likely to push higher here in the coming days and weeks. We have RSI back above 60 threshold. Confirming positive sentiment. There is divergence, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that RSI is pushing above its falling trend line. That will further add to the bullish picture that is still intact, and we could see it pushing higher in the coming days. Here pre-market a little bit lower, but not much to speak of. S&P 500 also pushed not to an all-time high just yet, at least, but it remains in a bullish trend as long as we stay above 6,550. Dow Jones keeping itself above 470 actually did establish a bearish trend, but I would say we are back in neutral, and possibly I think we will see it pushing to new all-time highs. We were just below the previous all-time high close there, but I think we'll see it pushing higher here in the coming weeks. Of course, you can expect some volatility due to the fact that now we are getting more and more earnings results coming in. So here we are pre-market US 500 and also US 30, the Dow Jones CFD. In the Asian markets, we have Hang Seng trading and closing back above 26,000, so could resume uptrend. As I would say, we are going into a neutral position, very close to closing this gap there up to 26,290. If it does, then I think we're going. It is safe to say that we have established a bullish trend again, or re-established the bullish trend. Even if RSI is not closing back above 60 threshold, but when and if it does, that will further confirm the bullish picture. Nikkei new all-time high and spiked just above 50,000. We do have divergence, as you can see here on the RSI. The RSI value is declining, so we are quite stretched, but the bullish trend is intact. But there was probably some stops up there that should have been taken, or some other interest. So we sold off quite quickly after just spiking above it. I think we could see it sliding lower here in the coming days. But next time, I think if it takes out the peak there from today, then we are pushing higher, and we are still in a bullish trend. In Europe, that has just opened, we got a new all-time high on EuroStoxx50. We are above the previous peak here, back here from earlier this month. Confirmed bullish trend. RSI not really following through, but I still believe that we will see it pushing higher, the index pushing higher here in the coming days and week. We can also see on the weekly bullish trend, slightly divergence, but I think we will see it pushing higher here in the coming weeks and possibly also towards the year end. Here's the CFD setting back a little bit after taking out the all-time highs there, and as you can see, the RSI is not really following through, but again, we are in a positive sentiment and trust the trend for now at least. DAX has bounced strongly yesterday. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. There is no divergence on these peaks here. And if we can close above 24,340, well, then we have established the bullish trend, and RSI is also likely to close above 6 relative. So then we can have higher levels here. The CFD trading just being rejected just at the 61.8 retracement, 24,355. If it takes out the peak today, then I think we'll see a bullish trend continuing. On the in the FX markets, euro dollar can't really make up its mind what it wants to. I mean, yes, we are in a bearish trend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and so on, and the lower high there failed to follow through, and now sliding back. So we are in the cloud. We are trading around the 55 and the 100 moving average. So, and we do have negative sentiment. So indicators are telling us that we should slide lower on euro dollar, but it hasn't really materialized. But I think if it slides back below 116 again, then we could see the euro dollar pushing lower towards 115, possibly lower. If it takes out the spike up there on the 17th at 117.30, then I think we will see a bullish trend establishing. So it's really in a limbo at the moment. Euro sterling range bound between 86.55 and 87.25, and that is the breakout I want to see. That's the direction. Indicators like RSI is telling us it should be to the upside, but it hasn't materialized just yet. Cable or sterling dollar. Below the cloud, below all moving averages, negative sentiment, bearish trends, lower high there, which is lower than over here. So we should see another setback down to around 132, possibly lower to the 200 moving average, possibly dipping a little bit lower. Needs to get back about 135.30 to establish a bullish trend. Dollar yen keeps bouncing a little bit and not that convincing, but positive sentiment on the RSI, no divergence, indicating dollar yen should push higher here in the coming days and weeks. And I think we'll see possibly this week pushing towards the 786 retracement, 152.40-45 area, especially if it takes out the peak from today, and I think it will. Euro yen, there we are. Euro yen, zoom in a little bit, bounced yesterday to the 50% of this bearish move here. As long as we stay above 174.80, then I think we will see it will keep bouncing. Positive sentiment on the RSI, and if it takes out the peak from yesterday, well, then I think the bounce will accelerate towards 177, 178. The Aussie yen pausing a little bit after a strong bounce. I think it will continue to come in the next few days. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, and I think we will see it pushing higher towards 99.15, which is a 61.8 retracement, possibly higher. And it should, given that we are in a positive sentiment, RSI not showing any divergence, if closing back above 60 threshold, it's likely to push higher on euro yen. Sterling yen, also in this bouncing mode, but needs to close above 203.50. I think maybe a break is enough, but because we do have the RSI positive sentiment very close to also move back above 60 threshold, that will further confirm the bullish picture. But 203.50 key resistance area, which is also around the 61.8 retracement. Aussie dollar. Quite volatile here lately, can't make up its mind, do I want to go lower, do I want to go higher? I think it will bounce further, but as we can see here, negative sentiment, but we're then above the 200 moving average, giving some support. So we can actually be in this limbo here for quite a while, maybe even dipping to 64.15 lows here. Or we could also bounce up to the 61.8 retracement at 65, just below 65.60 could be seen, but we have the 100 and the 55 moving average kind of putting a lid on it here. So will be a little bit of a struggle, so be careful with this one because it's like it can't really make up its mind. Dollar Canada, I think will make up its mind, and I think it will push higher. You see, past few days it has bounced a little bit after a little bit of setback, and if it takes out 140.80 here, which I believe it will, then we'll see a push higher towards 141, possibly higher. And if we're just zooming out a little bit, we can see we're in this what we call a fast area here. So there's not really much giving me supports or resistance in these levels there, but the bullish trend is intact. What could, if it takes out the lows there from yesterday, that could trigger a sell off to 139.30, support down here. This is 140, so keep an eye on that. Sterling Canada, I still believe it also will crawl higher. Positive sentiment on the other side. We are in a bullish trend. It should crawl higher in the next few days. 55 moving average coming up, 100 all moving average coming up. Of course, a lot of volatility, so be careful there. The lows from yesterday at 187.49. Then I'll say 45. It takes out that. Well, then we can see a little bit of a setback, but that will probably just be short-lived. Swiss pair. Well, Euro-Swiss is pushing again and trying to get below and actually push below here at 92. And if we zoom out quite a bit, we can see that's the flirting with these lows here from April this year. And then we have to go really, really far back. There are some spikes down there at around 92. But then we have to go really, 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 really far back to I think it's 2015. Right there, that was what at 82. I'm not saying we are moving there, but we are really, we are stretched also on the R side, which is around 27. I think we could dip a little bit low, but I think also that we will see a little bit of counter reaction fairly soon. I just needed a bottom and reversal. Dollar Swiss. Let's just zoom this, adjust this a little bit. That bounced from the 786 retracement yesterday to just still below this falling trend line. Seems like that's the pivot line here. I think if it takes out the peak from yesterday at 79.45, then I think we'll see a bounce up to around 80. But we are in a bearish trend, but it's not confirmed by our side, which is still slightly positive. But we are in a bearish trend. So if it takes out the lows there, well, then expect a push below 78. Dollar index. Dollar index, we have a bounce there also at 50% retracement of this downtrend there. I think it will push higher. You can see RSI positive sentiment. We should see it pushing towards the 61.8 retracement, 98.73, possibly up to 786 retracement at 98, and could resume bullish trend towards 100, 150. In the coming weeks, it could take time as long as it stays above 97.80, and we can see 55 and 100 moving average giving some support there. On the metals markets, gold is flirting with its all-time high. I actually think it made a new all-time high yesterday. Yes, it did, just slightly So I will adjust these a little bit, but it doesn't really matter much in the bigger picture. It's still very stretched, and you can see that the RSI is declining. So we are quite stretched, as I would say, see slightly declining, but that means divergence, so exhaustion mode, but we have seen it before. So let's see, there's still a lot of fear missing out in the gold market. So as long as we stay above 4,200, I will say we remain in a bullish trend. If it moves back below 4,200, we could see a correction down to around 4,100, possibly a little bit lower. Silver, 50,000 and 50 spot 55. I also add also subtract a little bit. If it takes out the lows there from the 17th, that was Friday, then I think we'll see a correction down to around 47.50. So be cautious a little bit with this bearish engulfing like candle here. That is a signal top reversal. Also RSI divergence indicating uptrend exhaustion. Platinum dipped to the 38.2 retracement at 15.50 yesterday and then bounced. So that will be the key. I don't think this support here will be that strong. I will actually keep an eye on this 15.50 level. If it takes out 15.50, then I think we'll see further selling down to around, and let me just use this one, to the 61.8. It's quite interesting. That is actually on the 61.8 retracement, 14.37, that level there. Copper, well, more or less dancing on the spot, isn't it? So it's still at 5.15. It needs to close above. It has spiked above, but needs to close above, or 4.82 to the downside. On the energy market and the WTI crude oil, if it can fetch it from the server, there we are. The WTI crude oil, still bearish trend, still potential to $55. Brent crude oil, same picture, 58 level is in the cards. Will it reach it? Well, maybe we'll try to bounce a little bit and then the next sell off. European nat gas still caught range bound here, so not much to talk about. 30 spot 73 and 33.90. US nat gas, on the other hand, massive move yesterday to the 786 retracement, just a few pips from it. RSI, I believe, didn't close above 60 threshold, but it's already in a positive sentiment anyway, so I think it will push higher. It could have a go at the 358 resistance up here. Let's see about, but I expect maybe a little bit of a setback, but you see 55 moving average turning around positive sentiment, so that was just maybe just merely a large correction on this bullish. So you can see it's a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, massive swings though. On the interest rate markets and the US 10 Treasury yields, still bearish, bounced a little bit, but still bearish and negative sentiment, so could push lower unless it takes out 405 to the upside. Then I think we'll see a bit of a correction. On the European yields, still in this bouncing mode after dipping just below to 253. So that is the lows here that you should look at. If it takes out that, then we're looking at these lows here around 242, 243. Otherwise, we are in a little bit of bouncing mode. More or less the same picture on UK yields, and good for the US government that are in need of money. So bearish trend here, a bounce. Could it bounce up to 457, or will it slide lower to around 438? The Japanese, well, it's bounced but pausing a little bit, and it bounced from that support and 50%. So what we can actually do just very quickly, we can actually say, okay, and it will be a very, so we need to just adjust this so we can see it actually spiked above 61.8 retracement, and this is the key support there at 161. On the crypto side, not much to report really. we are in a bouncing mode, but not convincing. So be cautious. If it takes out the lows there at 103,500, then we could see it dipping below 100,000. Also, Ethereum here under pressure short term. Needs to get back above 4,296. Then I think we'll see a bullish trend being established. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you later.